Peace, Goddess Never Soul here to align those chakras. And we back again with another weekly reading. I'm excited to see what this week has for us. We're about to get some readings going on. We have a full moon on Saturday, so you know what that means. Fresh out of Mercury retrograde, we headed right into the lunatics. Man, I really hope this week looks nice because we don't need bullshit leading into the full moon. No, we don't. I know I don't. Even though I had a pretty decent retrograde, I'm not tripping about it. But you just never know. Especially with the full moon in Virgo, so it's about earth signs, so I feel like it's really going to be testing how much people can ground themselves. So, man, I hope you guys have been having a great weekend. These cards being a little stubborn, but it's okay. Alright. So first up, we have belonging. And then we have Ganesha on the mouse, right in the mouse, which in this deck, the mouse represents the ego. So this week, we're going to be trying to get some control of the ego. And again, makes sense, I literally just said. Straight out of Mercury retrograde into a full moon energy. And I feel like the full moon energy, or just moon energy, anything planetary, you always start feeling the frequency beforehand. For me personally, it can be even up to like a week before I start feeling those shifts. So yeah, and then Ganesha has like some food and stuff too, so I think this week is gonna really be about standing your ground, but also understanding where you're lacking control, where you're lacking freedom, or tapping in with yourself and seeing where you may feel lack, because some of us are craving to belong to something. We're dealing with attachments this week, and it's really it makes sense because we just came out of Mercury retrograde, which is all about, revisiting, revising, going deep, becoming a little introverted so that you could really tap in with yourself and really see where you at and what you need to work on, and just the different things that you may have missed throughout the few months when we didn't have the retrograde. Because, again, Mercury is about communication, travel, relationships, partnerships, contracts, all of that good stuff. So I feel like during the period of retrograde, which this retrograde specifically, I feel like didn't actually deal too much with like relationships. It was more about internal work, which is a great thing, but I just have a feeling, especially based on my dream last night, that exes are just going to be coming up and coming back after the retrograde. So this might be a little interesting. They might actually start coming out the woodwork after. But behind the card, there's some mountains and stuff going on there. So I feel like this card represents as well. Like, a lot of us have been isolated. We've been really standing our ground. So this week is going to require us to get in some movement and to now leave that isolation, leave that internal work, leave all the healing and everything we were doing the past week behind, and to now look forward for something better. Moving forward into the things that we want to do, into where we want to go, and because I feel like a lot of us should be gaining way more clarity than we've, during this fog of retrograde, that you're going to start having some sense of direction again. You're going to start feeling like you could do things again, that you have the, again, clarity to figure out what the next move is. But just remember to stay detached, because there seems to be like some ego work that's still going on, and it makes sense because we're moving right into the full moon energy, which is all about releasing, letting go, and really, you know, letting things either end as a cycle, or, you know, some things may just be starting up. You may also have new beginnings coming in, because I see like our plate is full here. So it's not just about lack, it's not just about releasing, but it's also just about what within yourself can you get into balance. What is out of balance, out of whack, that you can tap in with, because again, you know, the sense of belonging also comes from a space of lack. So this week, how can we again see that we already have a full plate, that we already have abundance around us and with us, and we don't have nothing really to complain about. So right now it's really just about internal work that we've been working on the past week and the past, you know, I'll say about month, with the Mercury retrograde frequency, especially because this retrograde was in Aquarius, so it's all about the mental space. So how this week can we work on our mental space to help us detach, help us find freedom in any subject or matter that we're dealing with right now. And in this picture here too, the mouse is depicted pretty big, so I feel like a lot of people are going to have to learn through humility this week, because you got a lot of ego, a lot of pride that you have to deal with. So just be patient with yourself, because, you know, Ganesha's wearing green here, so it's also just about, you know, how can you really make peace with yourself. Because at the end of the day, you know, people are going to feel how they want to feel. Things are going to happen the way it's going to happen. But it's about you. So, again, because we're going to be feeling like we're longing for something, that we want to belong to something, just remember at the same time, everything happens exactly the way it's meant to. Everything happens in divine timing. So it's really just about, how can I find freedom this week? And even my own wants and desires, how can I provide for myself the things that I'm seeking from others? And again, you know, the mountain usually represents being strong and sturdy and settled and, you know, standing your ground. So maybe it, again, is being called for us to just make movement now and make action. And then we also have the priority card. And again, we have the mouse here. So it deals with ego here as well. But here, Ganesha has a lotus flower, so I feel like there's also still the mountains going on in the back. So even though there is some movement, we still need to stay grounded and, you know, go slow and steady. It's no rush to do anything right now or this week. It's really just about tapping in with yourself in new ways, new levels. And with this lotus flower, I feel like the fact that it's out of the water too, this is a symbolism of you are far beyond the mud. You are far beyond the point of growth and planting seeds and being in the darkness and feeling like detached from your reality. And it's time to now start seeing yourself for who you are, which is this beautiful flower that, yes, you've gone through so much shit, and yes, you've seen so many things change in your life, and it's continuously to change in this moment. But how can you focus on the positives, the great things, the great attributes of yourself? And here we have the ego watching Ganesha. So I think this is also to just be careful and to be confident with where you are with yourself. Don't be too vulnerable that you allow your ego to change your mind. This week, you know, yes, we just came out of retrograde, so I'm sure a lot of different things came up. A lot of things came out of the woodwork or came out of the dark, or things about yourself that you may felt like you needed to start working on. This is your message to say, you've been working hard, but enough is enough. We don't have to keep focusing on lack. We don't have to keep focusing on the things that are wrong or messed up, or, you know, things that you wish could be better, but instead focus on the things that already shows itself, which is that you are already complete, you are already perfect in your imperfection, you are already this beautiful flower that you think that you're not, because I'm pretty sure a lot of us still feel like we're in that mud part of the growth process of the lotus flower. But the universe is trying to say, like, yes, you are sitting in all this isolation. Yes, you are being strong and steady and sturdy, but how can I stop looking at everything and all this shit as like, I still need to work, I still need to work, I still need to heal, I still need to do this, I still need to do that. Cool. But patience with yourself, because all of it, like, no matter what you're working on, there's always levels to it. So even when you think you've fixed something or you've healed something, there's always going to be a trigger that comes back around, and then it comes full circle, and you're like, oh shit, I thought I finished working on this, but that wasn't the case. There's still shit that I need to work on in this topic. So I feel like this card is trying to say, like, don't feel like you have to get everything done at once. Don't feel like everything has to just be fixed over a certain period of time. Really allow yourself to take things slow and to really work with your process and really understand your process and understand that even in your imperfection, you are still perfection. Even when you are isolated, you are perfect. And what just came to mind too, I just recently saw a post that said, I was looking back at photos of myself and I realized that, wow, I look so beautiful, like I look so happy, but in that moment of that picture, I actually felt very ugly. And that post really hit me, because then it also said, it's crazy how, like, you really don't be feeling like certain things, but that's not the actuality of it. And I think that comes from, like, us not paying attention to the present moment, and because we tend to stress out a lot about the past or the future. So this is trying to show us, like, yes, you may still have work to be done, but don't rush yourself. Don't rush the process. Don't feel discouraged. Don't feel like you're not doing it or getting to it, or those things aren't coming to fruition for you, or that you're not seeing the progress that you think you should, because in actuality, it's just about, like, your priorities. What are you not prioritizing that has you, focused on all the wrong things, or making you feel like you're not where you want to be? And the reason why I brought up that post is because that person thought that she wasn't in a place that she was, and it took her until the future to be like, oh shit, I was actually very beautiful in that picture, even though I felt so ugly. And that's how much our brains can play tricks on us. So that's why it's important to try to work on controlling your thoughts, and to really, like, not allow your ego to take over. So it's really important to make sure that you remember your spirit working your vessel, and that you're not a vessel working your spirit. So I think this card is a reminder to prioritize the things that you already know about yourself, and to learn how to stop changing your mind. Learn to see the beauty that's already within and without. And don't double think back on that. Like, you just are what you are, and yes, every day you may not feel or look your best, but to somebody else, you probably look so beautiful. And then even to yourself later on, you may look back and be like, wow, I actually was very beautiful in that moment, even though I felt like shit. So we have to learn how to prioritize optimism and to release pessimistic behavior and thoughts. And we also pulled a promise of the future. And again, there's a lot of mountains going on in these cards, so I feel like everyone must have really been, like, isolated and really just, like, in your bag, or, like, really feeling like you're just where you're at and you don't need to move, or there's just so much going on that you just have been staying, like, in place. But know that this is just temporary. And again, I feel like most of us was probably put in that position because also not just Mercury retrograde, but a lot of the planets are also in Aquarius. So it has everyone in their thoughts right now. And I really hope that this week, that regardless of where your thoughts were, that moving forward into the next week, you take those thoughts and you really make the best out of it. You turn all of it into optimism. And I want to say optimism because I don't want to label anything as positive or negative. I want us to start removing ourselves away from that perspective, because truly, like, negative and positive is a perspective, it's not actuality. So yes, enjoy your time, being still and trying to become stronger, but understand like this is just temporary. So you're gonna have to go back out there eventually, but for right now, again, we have the mouse here as well. And I find this interesting because we went from a big mouse to a medium-sized mouse to a very tiny mouse. So I feel like there's a lot of ego work that is being done right now. There is a lot of ego work, but you're gonna get it down to where it needs to be, where it can be balanced, and where you can really like see again the optimism that you can have towards all the things that's going on in your life in a moment. You don't have to surrender to your outside world, which is why I feel like most of us was being brought to think and to really work on our mental spaces with all these Aquarian placements, because a lot of us unfortunately have not been thinking positive. A lot of us have really like settled for our cycles. A lot of us tend to think like things can never change, and that can be a huge issue when you want so much for yourself. So how can we work on our ego and start letting go of the things that don't serve us, the thoughts that don't serve us, because we've been given all this mental space and all this mental clarity this week for us to really take that to the next step. And Aquarian energy is also about spirituality, it's about consciousness, it's about elevation, it's about the 5D, it's about all these, very high vibrational things. And, again, nothing's wrong with low vibrational stuff either. Everything serves a purpose, right? So how can we go from, this stillness and this isolation and really make the best out of it? How can we really learn from our isolation? How can we really learn from the downloads and the messages that's been coming down to us, which is telling us to just love yourself no matter where you are in your journey. Love yourself no matter how much better you think you could be doing. Love yourself in general, because God forbid you die tomorrow, none of those things would matter. And I feel like that's an issue that most people have. We're always worrying about all these different things, but in actuality, like, you don't even know if you're going to be gone today. So would all of those worries and stresses, would they have been worth it? Would all the, I'm going to put this off, I'm going to put this off, I'm going to have fun later, I'll do this later, would it all have been worth it if you would have died today? And I feel like that's the message of this week, is how to surrender to your desires without feeling bad for going against the matrix. How can you really surrender to the things that you want, to the things you deserve, without feeling like you're breaking some sort of rule or something, even to yourself? Like, we have all this fruition going on here in this card, and then we have this lotus flower going on here, and then we just have, a thought process of like, where is this all going? But it's always going to go where you want it to go. It's always going to go where you allow your thoughts to take you. Whatever you're focusing on is where you'll end up. So how can we take this isolation, take this stillness, and transmute it into the things we need and want for ourselves? How can we take this isolation and transmute it into a frequency to get a drive to do what we want to do, and to get to a point in our lives that feel comfortable? And that comes back into like, we have to stop doubting ourselves. We have to stop thinking in lack, because we have all this abundance. I don't know what this is, but I keep calling it pylori because that's what it looks like to me. But like, literally, we have all this abundance, all this food here, so there's really no point to trip about anything. Stop tripping. You don't need to be tripping about nothing. Like, this whole process is just, this whole experience of life is to show you that you are the lotus flower. You are this beautiful thing that grew out of nothingness, that grew out of something you couldn't even see, really. Like, it was just, all this mud, all this darkness. Like, you really are that amazing of a person. And that's why, the universe wants you to know that you have a promise of the future, and that the shit is not just hitting the fan. Like, I know people try to say like, oh, I have anxiety, so I can't really control my thoughts, etc., etc. But anxiety is not really like real in that sense. Like, it's not uncontrollable. It takes work and practice. Like, your anxiety is trying to tell you something about yourself. It's trying to tell you something about your thought patterns. Not to take away from people's experience, because I am someone that also have gone through anxiety and have anxiety moments, like anxious moments, but it's always temporary, and I'm always finding a way to work through it, because I'm always willing to listen and understand, even if it's after, the attack is done. I try to sit with myself and understand, okay, what was your triggers? What thought processes led you to these triggers? And is this something that we can work on, or is this something we need help with? Like, what is it? Because I think people tend to think like, oh, I have anxiety and that's it. No. It is something to work on. Like, this experience is, that mentality comes from really thinking you're way more human than you actually are. All of this shit is an illusion, so you have to remember that when you're going through shit. Like, it's not really, really real. It's just there to service you, like, teaching you a lesson, teaching you how to elevate, teaching you how to tap into consciousness more. It's not about, like, this is just something about me that I can't change, so people just gotta deal with it. No. And this is another thing, too, like, even when it comes to, like, weed. A lot of people be like, oh, I can't smoke because it make me paranoid, da-da-da. So, and, yes, the chemtrails, the chemicals, all of that does play a factor, but if you still smoking clean weed and you're getting paranoid, like Bob Marley said, the herb is revealing you to yourself. So your experience is going to reveal you to yourself. Your anxiety is not just something that just happened upon you. Sometimes it stems from past life. Sometimes it stems from parallel lives. Sometimes it stems from generational stuff passed down. It's not just always just about you in this lifetime. There is literal, like, cycles going on here. For example, like, a lot of people try to demonize past lives and stuff, but I'm gonna still talk about it. There might be a past life where you died in water, and in this life you may be absolutely terrified by water, and you've had no prior experience in this life to really validate that anxiety. But instead of facing that, you're gonna be like, oh, I just have anxiety with water, so I'm gonna just not go into water because I have anxiety. Whole time, it's really a cycle that you're trying to break from a past life. And you just didn't know about it, because when we come onto this planet, we release all our memory. So sometimes we deal with things that we don't understand 100%, and we just categorize it all down to something that we feel like is uncontrollable. Everything is controllable. Like, you just gotta really have the willpower and the need to want to change these things. I really feel like, it's different if you actually have like a true chemical imbalance, but things like anxiety is not a chemical imbalance. It's responses, it's triggers. And again, like, it could be generational as well. If your family member had drowned once and probably like almost lost their lives, that stuff can pass down into genetics. Where because that person had a hard time with water, and they carried it so heavy in them, because we are 80% water, that could transfer over to you. And it may not make sense. You're just going to categorize it as anxiety and be like, all right, well, I can't do shit about it, so that's it. That's not the reality. This experience, like, your higher self already wrote out the contracts. You've already signed up for experiences. You've already signed up for the people you're going to meet and communicate with and work with and all these different things. Nothing happens by coincidence. Stop believing all this shit is just happening to you. It is not. You signed up for all the shit you're going through. And yes, I know the first thing people want to say is, oh, so I signed up to be raped, or I signed up to find out that this baby got raped. Listen, mind your business. You don't know what karmic debt anyone has to pay. Negative and positive is a perspective. I am not in any way, shape, or form saying that those things are okay. But what I'm trying to explain is, like, when you get too caught up in other people's worlds and what is happening all the time, you really lose track with yourself. you really lose track with your mission here on this planet. You lose track with all the things you should be doing here, and then that's when you like boil everything down to, I just have anxiety, or I just have all these mental disorders, so let me just go put myself on something because I can't do shit about it. I'm just gonna have to deal with this until I die. No, you're not here because then you're gonna recycle and then do this shit again. You don't want to recycle and do this shit again. If you recycle, you want it to be better. You don't want to redo the same shit that you couldn't figure out before because you got caught up in the matrix, you got caught up in society, you got caught up in the colonizers telling you how mundane this reality is, and it's truly beyond that. It's truly far beyond that. This is a spiritual experience. Stop being so afraid of diving deeper. And I'm not excluding myself in any way either. I still have my fears and my anxieties, but I'm constantly working through it. I don't let myself feel like it's stuck like that forever. I try to work through it. I had a fear of water, you know. My family didn't like swimming. My mom didn't let me swim. So I was afraid of the water, but that wasn't my trauma. But I had a trauma response from it being passed down. Eventually, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to just start putting myself in the water, and I'm going to start learning how to swim. And don't get me wrong, I was having all types of panic attacks. I was having so many internal issues during the process. But I chose to just keep being like, all right, I'm going to just take my time. I'm going to go in the water for like 5 minutes. If I feel weird, I'm going to come out. Go back in for like 10 minutes, come back out. Go back in for like maybe 20 minutes, come back out. Maybe go back in for 5 and then come back out. You know, I just kept trying to take it easy with myself. Eventually, now I could say like I could kind of swim now. I haven't really tried like deep water yet, but I could float. I could like swim if I needed to save myself. So that's something I could really say I did it and got through my own fears and finally conquered that. So this week is for sure just going to be about like how can we take all these things that we were isolating and showing ourselves that we need to work on and actually work on those things, because you're being promised a future and you need to take that for what it is and really allow yourself to live the life you want to live with perseverance, guys. Perseverance. Let's get this. Like, let's really say bye to our fears for real. Because we deserve freedom. Like, we did not get free will to be out here scared. Like, the free will is there so that when you're done with your contracts, if you change your mind or if you want to really tackle something a different way, like, you have the freedom to do that. I will for sure be hitting you up for some swimming lessons because, girl, let me tell you. But I'm happy though, because what also pushed my experience to like push myself to swim was I went to Puerto Rico, and it's like I can't be out in Puerto Rico scared of the water. It's all nice or whatever. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna really try. And we had a whole pool to ourselves. So I was like, ain't nobody here to embarrass myself. My friends are here. So if I start drowning, somebody can save me. Because they're at least taller than me. Mind you, none of us could swim. We all was in this pool. None of us could swim. And we was like, you know what? We are in Puerto Rico. We are gonna learn today. This is gonna be the day we learn how to swim. Fuck all that shit. And we all left Puerto Rico learning how to swim because we supported each other and we was there to help each other. Like if somebody wanted to like have somebody be right next to them while they try something real quick, like we was all there for each other. So sometimes you just need to really push yourself out of that trauma, and I will for sure be hitting you up. Thank you for letting me know that you're an aquatic instructor, because I will for sure be calling your ass. So I will let you know. I might actually be back in New York in the summer, so I'll for sure, let's get this work, and I'm gonna be a little bitch about it, but I'm gonna need you to push me, because I still be having my little fears too. So I'm not trying to be a hypocrite here. I'm just saying, like, it's the difference between staying stagnant in your trauma versus actually trying to push past it. So you look, I'm from Brooklyn, so I'm gonna hold it down and I'm gonna say, like, I will talk so much shit and I'm gonna still be scared though at the same time. But I'm gonna talk a lot of shit just even to myself because I'm trying to, like, you know, trying to thug up a little bit and do it anyway. Because that's what every successful person would always say. It's not that they didn't feel any fear at all, it's the fact that they were able to push through the fear and still do it anyway. So that's what we're trying to learn this week. How can we push past the fear? How can we push past the doubt, the self-doubt, and really allow ourselves to take advantage of the moment and really give ourselves, you know, the room to do the shit that we scared of. You can still be afraid doing it, but how else you gonna get past it if you don't allow yourself, you know, that room to do it? So, alright, let's see what the fairies have to say. That one is trying to come out. We have Vulva, and she is about prophecy, guidance, and direction. And this is a 33 card. So, yes, as long as you try, right? That's what this week is about. Just trying. No matter how afraid you are, just try that shit. Because you won't know until you try, right? Another thing was, like, you know, I'd rather, like, try and fail than to always be questioning what would have happened if I did. You know, like, I don't like being left in wonder. Like, I gotta try. But I don't know, it's probably because I'm a fire sign too, that I be scared, but I be pushing myself to still do the shit because I be overthinking a lot. But okay, let me focus. Okay, so we have this card here with the 33. So we're gonna be receiving a lot of guidance and direction this week. You know, with things coming out of retrograde, we should have a lot more clarity, a lot more mental clarity to be able to receive guidance and stuff. And let me tell you, since all these planets are in Aquarius, everyone should know that, like, your abilities, whether you have them or not, whether you believe in them or not, is going to get stronger because there's so many changes going on. So your dreams may be going crazy, because let me tell you, my dream last night was so valid. Like, everything I dreamt about was real, and I was like, wow, like, I wasn't expecting that. But yeah, we're gonna be receiving a lot of messages this week. So whether you are receiving angel numbers, whether that's like on car licenses, the time, whether you're just seeing people talk about numbers and, you know, you've seen the 11s, 22, 33, or 11, 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, the triples, whether you're seeing like 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, you know, those type of things, whether you're even seeing like butterflies or anything like that. Everything is a message, everything is a sign from your spirit guides, from your ancestors, from the spirit realm, from your higher self. Like, everything literally is messages and signs, because this is a matrix, everything is an illusion. This reality is just built to give you direction, guidance, assistance. So literally, like, I am that person. Like, every time I see numbers, I'd be like, oh, let me look that up and let me see what my spirit guides had to say. Or if I see a butterfly, I would literally be like, what is the spiritual meaning of blue butterflies? And I would, like, look it up and be like, holy shit, that is exactly what I'm going through right now. And I couldn't have asked for this message anyway, or any other. It'd be on point. I don't know what to tell you. Like, so this week, for sure, expect to, like, start seeing, like, your spirit guides really trying to talk to you more. Yeah, I did definitely say this is a 33 card, so it's already starting. So yes, this week we're going to be having a lot of guidance, so be open to your dreams. I personally sleep with high frequency stones under my pillow, but don't really recommend that to anyone if you're not ready to have very vivid dreams or anything like that. But I would suggest, like, sleeping with crystals and stuff, because there will be a lot of messages and connections going on this week, so you want to make sure that you are divinely protected. I highly recommend labradorite crystal to sleep with in general, because it protects you in both the physical and spiritual realm, so it'll help you out and protect your spirit while you're astral traveling. Because I don't believe in dreams. I think dreaming is astral travel. So you want to make sure you're also protected when you sleep. So I am that human that sleeps with crystals, and people get mad at me because they be crushing themselves on the crystals if they sleep over, or if they come into my bed or anything. Like, you will find crystals, because yes, honey, I gotta be protected with my eyes closed too. Gotta protect your neck at all costs. Let's see what else the fairy deck has for us. This one. Ooh, yeah. We have the Dreamer. And also, I wanted to point out too, I didn't say the numbers on the other cards I pulled, but the last card, the Perseverance card, is 28, and this card is also 28, and 28 is a 1, because 8 plus 2 is 10, and 1 plus 0 is 1, and that is how you break down numerology to understand what the numbers mean. So because we have the 10, but it's broken down into 2 and 8, that means that it will be a lot of partnership, relationship stuff that is coming up. And the 8 is going to be cycles, karma, finances. So there's going to be a lot of new opportunities coming up this week. But I'm going to also say that this is very interesting here, because both of these cards is kind of like a awake and asleep situation going on here. So yeah, this card is saying, like, when you're awake, you're going to be getting all these messages, and then this one I feel is, you know, the Dreamer, visions, trance, and apparitions. So you're going to also be receiving messages while you sleep. So that's why I just literally recommended, like, sleeping with crystals, which I also think is fun, because it makes your dreams, like, really go crazy. So, like, if you've been having very boring dreams, or you don't really remember nothing, I would suggest sleeping with crystals, because it will really take you for a ride. So again, so we got that 33, which the theme here seems to also be love based, because 33 is a 6, even though we don't really break down master numbers, which master numbers are doubled the frequency. So 11, 22, 33, 44 are master numbers that don't really get broken down like the way I did the 28. But I still like to look at that as another version of the frequency. So the 33 is asking for balance in relationships, in love. And then this 28 with the visions and trance and, you know, the Dreamer. I really feel like this energy means, like, it's all based around relationships and stuff. And it makes sense, because we are in February. This is the month of love, right? Technically, since this is when everyone is celebrating Valentine's and all this stuff. And I really think that, yeah, we're going to be waking up to a lot of stuff this week. It seems like Spirit is going to be trying to really talk to us this week. And the past few weeks, like, we've been having a lot of throat chakra energy coming down, a lot of third eye and crown frequency coming down onto the planet. So it makes sense why this week we'd be having a lot more visuals, a lot of visualizations, a lot of messages, a lot of things just being prophesized to us from the universe, our spirit guides, our higher self, because we've been having all this high frequency coming down, and it's because a lot of us are awakening ourselves, and we kind of, a lot of us don't have a choice. Like, we signed up for it. You're here for the Aquarian age, baby. Like, ain't no playing games no more. Like, the universe is changing, and it is up to you to flow with it. So yeah, we're gonna be having a lot of messages coming through this week. So I'm excited, because I have a feeling a few of y'all are gonna be hitting me up like, yo, my dreams have been crazy. Or you've been getting a lot of messages too. I know a lot of people have been, you know, switching over to sea moss too, which sea moss will decalcify the shit out of your pineal gland. So be prepared if you've just awakened yourself to sea moss. Like, expect to have more visualizations and more visions, and to be able to see your reality different. And then we have this 8 card, which is the Elven Touch, and this is about recovery, comeback, revival. So we're gonna be having, like, a lot of stillness, and, you know, it makes sense, because from the first deck we had a lot of mountains, so we was working on a lot of ourselves a lot. So again, coming out of Mercury retrograde, we were dealing with a lot of that. But you are going to have a recovery. You are making a comeback. You are tapping into yourself. So congratulations on that, because as we are gaining back mental clarity, as we are getting our focus back, shit is about to be amazing. And yes, because we have a lot of white going on here, it's a lot of crown chakra work that is being brought to us. And, you know, it's through the crown that we download information from the sun, that we download just information in general, right? So this is a huge, amazing sign that all the hard work, all the stuff that you were working on and working through is going to be over. It's going to come to a conclusion. And it makes sense because, again, we're coming into the full moon in Virgo, and this is also the last full moon for the year. Because in astrology, Aries is the first sign, so this would be the last sign or month of the astrological year. So it makes sense. Like, a lot of y'all are going to be tapping in to some huge changes and really coming into a new version of yourself. And when I'm also getting it, and it makes sense, like, most of us, if you're like in your late 20s, early 30s, you are going through your Saturn return, which is about, you know, for some people it can be like a very dark time because you have a lot of healing and work to do, and for others it might be a more positive experience because you would have probably dealt with your dark times prior to. So it makes sense. Like, a lot of us are coming into ourselves. A lot of us are coming into our higher self, into our higher power, into our divine purposes. So a lot of y'all are going to start really seeing those changes this year because this is a 5 year. So this year is really going to be changing and setting us up for that amazing part and aspect of our Saturn return. So if you were fretting, don't fret no more, child, because things are about to come to a close and for a good purpose. Like, y'all are really about to start seeing things come to fruition. So that's why I was saying earlier, like, really make sure that you are watching your thoughts and that you are making sure that you are giving your focus to the things you want and not the things that you don't want. If there are things and a lot of things in your life that you don't want, how can you start working on changing that? How can you start working on creating better for yourself? How can you start becoming more optimistic? How can you start being more solution-based this week? Because we're not making excuses no more, because this year is about to be amazing. So there's no point in wasting your time on energy and thoughts that don't matter. And we keep pulling this card too. A few weeks in a row we kept pulling this card, and it is back. The Cave and Sanctuary. So there's a lot of mountains going on here. There's a lot of isolation and, you know, ancestor stuff that's going on. So a lot of y'all are gonna really be receiving messages from your ancestors and from your spirit guides. Like, this is all about your ancestors and your lineage. So how can you listen more? And, you know, in this cave, you know, it's a little dark, but you got this fire going. I feel like it's, how can you use your light to really tap in with who you are? Like, how can you take your spirituality to the next level? Because I'm telling you, man, this shit about to be taken off. Like, y'all think this shit is a game. Like, this 5D frequency is not playing with us, like, at all. So you're gonna start having shit really change for you. So really, yes, accountability all 2021. You have to spend this year literally taking accountability. How can I really isolate with myself? 2020 was all about isolation, even though most of y'all fought it because you didn't enjoy being by yourself. You thought you was gonna run from it? No, because the universe gonna sit that ass down. You have to get in tune with yourself. You have to really clear yourself, because if you want to move into the 5D, you have to lighten your heart. Even if you wasn't going to the 5D, like, if you in any way, shape, or form believe in Egypt, ancient Egypt, they highly believe that when you die, you go through the underworld with Anubis, and that's going through the darkness, fears. You know, of course, there's going to be love and stuff there too, but it's about going through the darkness. And then when you get to the end, You have to weigh your heart on the scale of Ma'at, and if your heart is as light as the feather or lighter, you get to move on. And if you can take anything from that, is that no matter what you go through in your life, are you lightening your heart? Are you still moving through compassion? Are you still moving through mindfulness, or are you getting bitter? Because whether you believe in all this shit or not, it doesn't change what this experience is about, which is about you lightening your heart. It's about how much can you surrender to love. So you isolate as much as you need to, but in the first deck with Ganesha, like, you also have to recognize that that isolation don't just mean to beat yourself up. It does not just mean to focus on the things that you lack or the things that you need to work on. It's also about isolating and understanding how powerful you are, how amazing you are, tapping into all the greatness that you are. You are, whether you have melanin or not, you are a being here on this planet. You are not just this mundane thing. Like, I'm tired of people making this shit seem like it's so regular. It's not. There is a Uber fact that said that you never really actually are sitting on anything, that the atoms don't allow them to touch each other. So even though you feel like you sitting on something, you actually not. You just sitting on air, which is crazy. So it's like, how do we keep thinking this experience is that simple and that basic? Even down to fucking water. What the fuck is water? But we 80% of it, we need it to survive. There's this light in the sky that make life, and that's just normal to y'all. Alright. Anyway. Another card that we pulled from the Gaia deck, from the Earth Magic deck, is Gaia and nurturing. So, how can you be more nurturing to yourself? How can you be more in tune with your needs? How can you also do the same things for nature? Like, anything that is going on in the world is a reflection of us. The world is going through a lot of shit. There's a lot of garbage. There's a lot of pollution. There is a lot of mistreatment of the planet. So that is a huge reflection of how we've been treating ourselves. Like, you need to really tap in with that. Like, how can you be more sustainable and eco-friendly? How can you treat the earth better? Because it's all a reflection of self too. So I really be feeling like if you're not treating the earth good, you probably are not treating yourself good either. Sorry, not sorry. Sorry, not sorry, because if you valued yourself, you would have gained enough mindfulness to start valuing the stuff outside of you, whether that's the planet, people, whatever. Reflections, like how your external world looks, is a reflection of what you got going on. And granted, yes, it may not always be 100% the same reflection, but it's still trying to show you things, because everything has layers. Like, we gotta get out of this surface level perspective where we be thinking that we touching things on a deep level and we not. We can't be doing that no more. And I feel like this card this week is also a huge reminder that we are coming into the new year, because I believe, amongst some peeps, that the new year really starts in spring. So we are moving closer to better weather, better frequencies, higher frequencies, since we are all coming out of a darkness. And yeah, there's like a lot of animals here, flowers, which again, you know what? I'm gonna actually, bring this back to the ancestors. Like, I feel like these are all of everyone's spirit guides and spirit animals, and, all the people that's about to start giving out all these messages that y'all get in this week too. Like, it's not just like, nature is literally yelling for us to do better. But it's also like a reminder too that, like, we have to take care of them because they take care of us, and like, they are also reflections of our spirit guides, because some of us do have animal guides. Some of y'all really do have like a wolf, or like a tiger, or a deer, or a horse, or a bird, dolphins, anything like that, that's actually looking out for you and is trying to help you out and send you messages and help you heal and work with your life. So it's like, you have to treat the planet as such too, because they are also reflections of the people and spirits around you. It's not just about you and your experience. Like, yes, this is an experience about you, but it is simultaneously happening with everyone else and with all these other beings and all these other spirits, and we have to just remember to be mindful. So how can we be more mindful this week and do something positive for the earth? I've been highly trying to suggest for people to switch over to even bamboo toothbrushes, switching over to metal straws, switching over to using less plastic, trying to hold things, and taking yourself away from those things that harm the environment. Like, how can you step up and use less things that can also force corporations to become more eco-friendly? And a lot of people try to say none of these things matter, that like I'm just one person, but let me tell you, I'm pretty sure y'all probably haven't even noticed that now your grocery stores probably are selling bamboo toothbrushes. There's places like Marshall's and CVS and Walgreens, like all these places are starting to get hit, like even down to like detergents and soaps and stuff. All of them are trying to go plant-based too. Like, have y'all not peeped that? All the clear bottles, because they're like, oh, this detergent is made with all plants, like, or this dishwashing liquid was made with all plants and it's clear. Like, we are making huge impacts, so stop feeling like you doing something ain't nothing. Like, it's everything. You are helping influence the change. So stop feeling like what you do in life don't matter. And I feel like that's what we are also learning this week. Stop feeling like you just one person that can't do shit. You are one person that can add to the collective. And that's so important within itself. Like, all these people are not gonna die with you. You're going to be going through your transition by yourself. So stop watching other people. Stop caring about other people. Stop caring if you're not enough, because you will always be enough. And that's on every level of your life. You will always be enough. So just do right. Just do what you got to do, period. And we also pulled Stone People, which is Vigilance. And again, the Lotus Flower and Unfoldment. We literally was just talking about that in the other deck. This is about recognizing you are beautiful, period. No matter how much you need to work on, no matter what flaws you got, you are just perfect as you are, period. Period. Thank you. Somebody said Grove is a great bamboo-based product. I just started trying. Look into Groove. We have options. Like, I'm finally, now that they're making toothpaste tablets, I'm switching over to that as well, so that I can start reducing my toothpaste containers as well. I used to make my own toothpaste, but I realized that I'm still using, if anything, probably more plastic trying to do that, so I kind of slowed back down on doing that as well, because I still needed to buy all these different products to make my toothpaste. So to me, it kind of defeated the purpose, but it is what it is. You just gotta do what works. And before we close out, I'm actually not sure how much time I got left. Let us pull our Chakra Affirmations. Honestly, like, part of me is mad with this COVID shit, because I feel like it's pushed us to put back more waste. Because we were doing so well cutting out plastic bags and shit, and then now it's like, oh, you can't use your reusable bag because you're bringing germs in here. All that hard work I done did, you telling me now I can't use damn shit, now I be looking crazy holding everything, like, can't stand this shit. So anyway, alright, let's see what Chakra Affirmations we have for this week. Oh, they trying to be real precise this time. Are y'all not trying to give us no affirmations? You telling us to just live our life right now? Because, I mean, that's fine too, but I want to give some affirmations. Wow, they really not trying to give us some affirmations today. Okay, what chakra affirmations do we need everyone to hear? Are you, or maybe they, oh, there we go. I was about to say, maybe they trying to tell us to work on all the goddamn chakras. Ooh, yep, makes sense. We pulled the crown chakra. So we have the crown chakra. Grace is the theme of this affirmation. The grace of a higher power is with me, and I move through life knowing this truth. I believe in a higher power, and I know that it is within and around me, offering assistance and guidance. I surrender all my fears and burdens to a higher power. I am open to receive grace, and I trust in a higher power. I am worthy. Literally confirmation that we really need to be vulnerable and opening up to all the messages that our ancestors and spirit guides will be sending us. And just again, like another confirmation that we are going to really be using our third eye way more than we have been in the past. So this is trying to teach everyone, like, it is time to really open up your abilities and open up your perspective and your visualization and the way that you look at the world, so that you can start receiving these messages for real. So like I was saying earlier, like this week for sure, expect to see numbers, angel numbers really coming at you left, right, and center, like the 1111s, the 1234, the 333, 222, 444, all of that. You're going to be seeing a lot more of that, whether it's also like animals like popping up. Look it up. Everything has a significant meaning to your journey in that moment. So don't deprive yourself from that. We also got the fifth chakra, which is the throat chakra. And the message is willpower and determination. And the affirmation is, I set clear boundaries for my own behavior, and I cultivate a strong will by being true to myself. I use my willpower to accomplish my daily tasks and spiritual goals, and to encourage uplifting thoughts and behaviors in myself. Doing this will assist me on the next stage on my physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual growth. I stay in touch with my positive thoughts and truth by avoiding substance abuse. My will is strong and my mind is clear. So I think we're being called to detox this week as well. How can you stay away from things that don't necessarily do good for you? Even if it's something that you find is okay. This week we need to take a break. We need to really allow ourselves to detox, to really clear. Even if it's like foods, because I feel like, food is kind of a substance abuse too, because there's all types of chemicals and drugs in that motherfucker too. So how can you really like cleanse yourself this week? How can you, maybe eat more fruits and drink more water and really allow yourself to cleanse? If you drink a lot, or, even if it's like sugar and stuff like that, how can you slow down this week and allow your body some time to reset, reprogram, to release any toxins that you may have accumulated over time? Like, give yourself some time to recalibrate. I'm an advocate for going plant-based, but I also have no issue with people eating meat, but I just say if you are eating meat, you actually need to detox more than us. So make sure that even if you want to continue to eat meat, that you are also detoxing, because that's very important for your nervous system, for your gut nervous system, for your mental health and focus, to make sure you're releasing all the right chemicals to give your body time to break down the foods that you've been eating. I'm going to actually pull two more, but we are still on the same boat. We have the fifth chakra, the throat chakra, and the message is setting boundaries. I teach others how to love and respect me by how I love and respect myself. My integrity is supported when I express my thoughts and feelings. I am aware of excessively wanting to please others. I will maintain and grow my personal power by saying yes when I mean yes, and saying no when I want to say no. I speak up for myself, and I set boundaries regarding other people's behavior. I do this by asking for what I do want, such as respect, patience, tolerance, and support, rather than telling them what I don't want. and that's on period, right? And then we have last another crown chakra affirmation, which is one with all. I feel the divine force flowing through me. I honor this and I know that it flows through all. I am calm in knowing that I am one with all, and I contemplate and meditate on this fact. I regularly remind myself that we are all from the same source and that we are all on a journey as spiritual beings experiencing this physical existence. I am aware that I have a choice as to how I respond to what is happening in my life. My responses have an enormous effect on my spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical well-being. So this week, let us be very mindful to ourselves. Yes, we've been isolating, but we have to also focus on the positive, not just all the things we need to work on. So with that being said, I hope you guys have an amazing week. I hope that you receive all the messages that you need, all the confirmation you need, all the synchronicity you need to move forward, to be more optimistic, to really have a huge change in your perspective where you can really take advantage and receive all the things that you deserve, where you can really tap into yourself and see your worth and see that you are worthy, and to, start asking for the shit you need and allow yourself to also receive those very things you are asking for. So on that note, making sure that you are preparing yourself and becoming ready for the things you want to receive. If you are just tuning in, you can check back in with this live. I will be saving it to my IGTV. If you would like to tip me and share some energy exchange, you can do that. I will be putting my handles in my description. And I just want to thank everyone for tuning in this week. May you have a wonderful, abundant week. And if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can tap into my calendar on nispo.info, or the link is in my bio. I love you guys and have a great one. Peace, peace.